In the city of Solhaven, where traders from across the desert kingdoms gather beneath towers of white stone, there exists a fear older than memory itself, the golden curse. They say it sleeps in the blood of certain families, dormant for generations, waiting for the moment to awaken and consume its host from within. They say those who carry it become living statues of gold, beautiful and terrible, their bodies transformed into precious metal, while their minds remain trapped inside, screaming in eternal silence. They say there is no cure, no escape, no mercy, but they never say what happens when someone refuses to fear it. This is the story of Varen, the merchant's son who carried the curse in his veins, and Zara, the desert wanderer who woke it with a touch. And everything the world believed about the golden curse was wrong. Solhaven rises from the desert like a crown of white marble, its towers catching the morning sun and throwing light in all directions. This is a city built on commerce and connection, where caravans arrive daily, bearing spices from the eastern territories, silk from the northern kingdoms, precious metals from the southern mines, and salt from the western flats. The markets are a riot of color and sound, merchants calling out their wares in a dozen languages, the air thick with the scent of incense and roasted meat and exotic flowers. Water flows through channels built by ancient engineers, feeding fountains and gardens, making life possible in this harsh land. The people of Solhaven are pragmatic, focused on profit and survival, but they are not without their superstitions. And chief among those superstitions is the terror of the golden curse. Every child in Solhaven learns the signs: skin that takes on a metallic sheen, eyes that begin to gleam with unnatural gold, fingertips that harden and turn cold. When these signs appear, the cursed one is taken beyond the city walls and left in the desert to complete their transformation alone, exiled so their curse does not spread, abandoned so the city does not have to witness their fate. It is cruel, but the people tell themselves it is necessary. Better one life lost than risk contamination. Better exile than allowing the curse to wake in others. Varen has lived his entire 26 years knowing he carries the curse in his blood. His great-grandmother transformed when she was 30, walking into the desert with dignity, her family weeping but not stopping her. His uncle showed signs at 25, and he too was exiled, though some say he fought against it. Had to be drugged and carried out while he screamed that he felt fine, that nothing was wrong. Varen's mother tested free of the bloodline taint, but his father carried it dormant, and so it passed to him. He has been waiting for the sign since he reached adulthood, watching his skin each morning for that telltale metallic gleam, checking his eyes in polished mirrors, flexing his fingers to ensure they remain flesh and bone. So far, nothing. So far, the curse sleeps. But the fear does not. It colors every decision he makes, every relationship he avoids forming, every dream he refuses to pursue, because what is the point of building a life when it might end in golden horror at any moment? He works in his family's trading house, handling contracts and shipments with meticulous care, but he does it mechanically, without passion. He is simply passing time, waiting for the inevitable, unable to truly live because death is always watching over his shoulder. His father, Malik, tries to help in his own way, encouraging Varen to take risks, to enjoy what time he has, but the words ring hollow. Malik carries the same bloodline, the same doom. and he too lives in fear despite showing no signs in his 53 years. They are prisoners together, son and father, bound by genetics and terror. Varen's younger sister, Ileana, tested free like their mother, and the relief was so profound that Varen wept for 3 days, grateful that at least she would be spared this hanging sword. She is 17 now, vibrant and full of life, and sometimes Varen watches her with a mixture of joy and envy, so intense it physically hurts. On the morning this story truly begins, Varen is in the trading house going through shipping manifests when Ileana bursts through the door, her eyes bright with excitement. "There is someone you have to meet," she announces, ignoring his protests. "Someone interesting for once. Please, Varen, you never go anywhere, never do anything. Just come meet her." Varen sighs, knowing his sister will not relent. "Fine. Who is this fascinating person?" "Her name is Zara. She arrived with the northern caravan 3 days ago, and she is unlike anyone I have ever met. She tells stories about the deep desert, about ruins and ancient magic, and she has a mark, Varen. She is one of the chosen." Varen's interest stirs despite himself. The marked ones are rare, individuals blessed or cursed, depending on one's perspective by the great totems that govern the world. He has never met one personally, though he has heard the stories everyone hears. What totem? The Fire Caracal. She has this incredible energy, like she is burning from the inside, but in a good way, a powerful way. Please come meet her. She is at the Copper Lotus Inn, and she said she would be there until sunset. Against his better judgment, against every instinct that tells him to avoid connections and complications, Varen finds himself agreeing. He leaves his manifests unfinished, follows Ileana through the crowded streets of Solhaven, through market squares and residential quarters, until they reach the Copper Lotus, a inn known for catering to travelers of distinction, those with money or status or interesting stories to tell. Inside, the common room is dim and cool, a relief from the blazing heat outside. A handful of patrons sit at scattered tables, eating or drinking or engaged in quiet conversation. And there, near the back, sitting alone with a cup of something steaming, is a woman who can only be Zara. She is perhaps 30 years old, with deeply tanned skin that speaks of years under the desert sun, and wild, dark hair that falls in loose waves to her shoulders, streaked with red like fire. Her eyes are amber, almost orange, glowing with an inner heat that is immediately arresting. She wears practical desert clothing, leather and linen, designed for movement and survival, and on her right shoulder, visible because her vest is sleeveless, is the mark, a caracal in profile, its distinctive tufted ears unmistakable, the lines of the mark seeming to flicker and dance like flames. She looks up as they approach, and her face breaks into a grin that is fierce and welcoming simultaneously. "You must be the brother," she says, her voice rough like sand on stone, but not unpleasant. "Ilinda talks about you constantly." Varen sits across from her, uncertain what to say, how to act. He has so little practice with casual interaction, so much of his life spent in self-imposed isolation. "I am Varen. My sister seems to think you are worth meeting." Zara laughs, a sound full of genuine amusement. Direct. "I appreciate that. Yes, I am worth meeting. I am interesting, knowledgeable, and I do not bore easily. What about you? Are you worth meeting, Varen?" The question catches him off guard. No one has ever asked him that before. He considers lying, offering some false modesty or confident boast, but something about her directness invites honesty. I do not know. I have spent most of my life avoiding being known, so the question of whether I am worth meeting feels irrelevant. Zara tilts her head, studying him with those burning amber eyes, and Varen has the uncomfortable sensation that she sees more than he intends to show. Why avoid being known? What are you hiding from? Everything, everyone, myself. He stops, surprised at his own words, and how easily they spill out. There is something about this woman that bypasses his usual defenses. Ileana shifts uncomfortably beside him. Varen carries the bloodline of the golden curse. He lives with that fear constantly. Varen shoots his sister a sharp look, angry that she would reveal something so personal, but Zara's expression does not change to pity or horror as he expected. Instead, she nods slowly. I have heard of this curse. Bodies turning to gold, minds trapped, endless suffering. The people here fear it greatly. You carry the potential for it in your blood? Yes, it could manifest at any time. So I do not form attachments, do not make plans, do not invest in anything that could be taken away when the curse wakes. Zara leans forward, her amber eyes intense. That sounds like a terrible way to live. You are letting fear consume you more surely than any curse could. Varen feels anger flash through him, hot and defensive. You do not understand, you cannot understand. You are marked by a totem, chosen for something great. I am marked by genetics, chosen for suffering. They are not the same. Zara's expression softens slightly, but she does not back down. You are right. I cannot fully understand your fear, but I do understand living with something inside you that could destroy everything. Do you know what the Fire Caracal's mark means? What it costs? Varen shakes his head. It means I burn, constantly. My body temperature is always higher than normal. I heal fast, but I also exhaust fast. I need more food, more water, more rest than an ordinary person. And when I use the totem's power, when I channel fire, it hurts. Every time. It burns through me, and I have to endure it because refusing the power means people die, threats go unchecked, darkness wins. So yes, I carry something dangerous inside me, but I choose to use it rather than hide from it. There is a difference between being cautious and being paralyzed. You, Varen, are paralyzed. The words strike deep, and Varen has no response. He stands abruptly, intending to leave, to retreat back to his safe prison of isolation. But Zara speaks again before he can take a step. Stay, please. I am not trying to hurt you. I am trying to wake you up. There is a difference. He hesitates, torn between flight and something else, something that might be curiosity or hope with the faintest spark of possibility. Finally he sits again, his jaw tight, his hands clenched. Talk then. Wake me up. Tell me what you see. Zara settles back in her chair, her amber eyes never leaving his face. I see a man who is already dead inside, who has killed himself slowly to avoid dying quickly. I see someone who had potential, gifts, dreams, but who buried them all because fear told him it was safer. And I see incredible waste. Because even if the curse never manifests, even if you live to be 80 years old with the bloodline dormant the entire time, you will have lived as if you were cursed anyway. You will have given fear exactly what it wanted without the curse ever lifting a finger. That is the real tragedy. Not the possibility of transformation, but the certainty of self-destruction. Varen wants to argue, to defend himself, but the words catch in his throat, because she is right. Everything she says is undeniably, painfully right. He has been dying by degrees his entire adult life, killing himself with caution and fear, and for what? To avoid a fate that might never come? Alyana reaches out and takes his hand, squeezing gently. I have watched you disappear, brother. Year by year, you become less, smaller, quieter. I hate seeing it. I brought you here because I hoped Zara might say something, do something that would reach you. I know I cannot. Varen looks at his sister, seeing the worry and love in her young face, and something in his chest cracks. When did you become so wise? When I realized my brother was fading away and I was too scared to confront him about it. But I am not scared anymore. Fight back, Varen. Fight the fear. Live. The simple command hangs in the air, and Varen feels something shift inside him, some long frozen thing beginning to thaw. He looks at Zara. If I wanted to live, truly live, where would I even start? I have forgotten how. Zara grins that fierce grin again. You start by doing something reckless, something that scares you, something that proves you are alive. She stands, downing the rest of her drink in one gulp. Come with me. Where? Into the desert. Tonight? I am investigating ruins about a day's ride from here. Old structures that predate Solhaven by centuries. I could use company, and you could use an adventure. No planning, no overthinking, just action. Are you brave enough? Every rational part of Varen's mind screams no. This is insane. Do not go into the desert with a stranger. Maintain your safe routines, protect yourself. But beneath the rational voice is another one, quieter but growing stronger, that whispers yes, do this, feel something, remember what it is to be alive. He looks at Alyana, who nods encouragingly. He looks at Zara, who waits with patience, not pushing, letting him choose. And he chooses yes. Fine. I will go. But I need to prepare, gather supplies. We leave at nightfall? Zara nods. Nightfall. Meet me at the western gate. Bring water, a bedroll, and courage. Everything else I have covered. Varen spends the afternoon in a daze, going through motions of preparation while his mind races. He tells his father he is taking a few days away, a vague explanation that Malik accepts with surprise and cautious approval. He packs supplies, checks, and rechecks his gear, tries not to think about all the ways this could go wrong. But underneath the anxiety is something else, something he has not felt in years: excitement. As the sun sets and the sky turns shades of crimson and violet, Varen makes his way to the western gate. Zara is already there, standing beside two horses laden with supplies, her mark glowing faintly in the dusk light. "Ready?" she asks as he approaches. "No, but I am going anyway." "Good answer." They mount and ride out into the cooling desert, leaving Solhaven behind, its white towers fading into the distance. The desert at night is a different world from the brutal furnace of day. The temperature drops rapidly, and the sky explodes with stars, so many that it seems impossible, a river of light flowing overhead. They ride for hours, following paths only Zara seems to see, navigating by starlight and instinct. Varen finds himself relaxing despite everything, lulled by the rhythm of the horse, by the vastness of the space around them, by the strange sense of freedom that comes from having left his familiar prison behind. They do not talk much, both absorbed in the journey, but the silence is comfortable rather than awkward. Near midnight, they stop to rest and water the horses at a small oasis, little more than a spring bubbling up between rocks, surrounded by a few struggling palms. They unsaddle the horses and build a small fire, eating dried meat and flatbread while the flames crackle. Zara breaks the silence. Tell me about your family. About growing up with this curse hanging over you. Varen considers deflecting, maintaining his privacy, but he remembers her words about being paralyzed, and he decides to try honesty. It was strange. My parents tried to give me a normal childhood, but there was always this shadow. Relatives speaking in hushed voices. Prayers and rituals meant to keep the curse dormant. When I was 12, my uncle transformed. I remember him being there at breakfast, laughing and talking, and then 3 days later he was gone. My father told me he had left on business, but I overheard the truth. I snuck out and followed the exile procession into the desert. I watched from a distance as they left him with water and food and rode away. He called after them, begging them to stay, promising he would be fine. They did not look back. Varen's voice cracks slightly, the memory still raw after 14 years. I do not know how long he survived out there, whether the transformation was quick or slow, whether he suffered or found peace. I only know that no one went back for him, no one checked. He became a story we did not tell, a name we did not speak, and I learned that if the curse woke in me, I would be alone, completely alone. Zara stares into the fire, her expression unreadable. That is cruel. Necessary, perhaps, from a certain perspective, but cruel nonetheless. Did it ever occur to your people that exiling the cursed might be exactly the wrong response? Varen looks up sharply. What do you mean? I mean that fear breeds ignorance, and ignorance breeds mistakes. Your people exile the cursed immediately, which means no one ever studies the condition, no one ever researches potential treatments, no one ever learns the truth about what is actually happening. You just throw people away and tell yourselves it is for the greater good, but what if it is not? What if there are answers that could save lives, but you never find them because you are too busy running from the problem? Varen has never thought of it this way. The exile has always been presented as an unfortunate but necessary tradition, a way to protect the many at the cost of the few. But Zara is right. No one has ever challenged the tradition, questioned it, looked for alternatives. They just accept it as the way things have always been. You think differently, he says, because you are an outsider. I am a wanderer, Zara corrects. I go where I am needed, where the Fire Caracal guides me. I have seen dozens of cultures, hundreds of traditions, and I have learned that just because something is traditional does not mean it is right. Sometimes traditions persist long after they stop serving any useful purpose. Sometimes they persist because people are afraid to question them. Your golden curse is one such tradition. I would bet everything I own that there is more to it than your people believe. Varen feels a spark of something that might be hope. You think the curse can be cured or stopped? I think the curse can be understood, and understanding is the first step to everything else. Why do you think I'm going to these ruins? What do you expect to find there? Old knowledge. The ruins predate your city by at least 1,000 years, possibly more. They belonged to a civilization that studied transformation magic. that understood the relationship between flesh and spirit and matter. I have reason to believe they documented their knowledge in texts and carvings, and I intend to find those documents. Your golden curse may not be unique. It may be a remnant of experiments or rituals from that ancient time. If I can find records, I might be able to understand its mechanism. And if I understand it, I might be able to stop it. The words hit Varen like a physical blow. The possibility that his curse might be more than inevitable doom, that it might be solvable, understandable, defeatable, is so overwhelming that he cannot process it. You came to Solhaven looking for this? For information about the curse? Not specifically. I came because the ruins called to me, because the Fire Caracal indicated this direction. But when I heard about the golden curse from the locals, I recognized similarities to transformation magic I have encountered elsewhere. So yes, part of my purpose here is to investigate this. And if I can help people like you in the process, all the better. Varen stares at her across the fire, this fierce, burning woman who walked into his life and shattered his carefully maintained hopelessness. Why? Why do you care about helping me? You do not know me. You owe me nothing. Zara meets his gaze, her amber eyes reflecting the flames. Because I am marked by the Fire Caracal, and that means I burn to protect, to defend, to fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. You have been fighting a lonely, quiet battle your entire life, and you are losing. I will not stand by and watch that when I might be able to help. Call it duty, call it instinct, call it whatever you want. I care because that is who I am. They sit in silence after that, the fire burning down to embers, the desert night wrapping around them like a blanket. Eventually they lay out bed rules and sleep, though Varen's mind races for hours before exhaustion finally pulls him under. They wake before dawn and continue riding, reaching the ruins by mid-morning. The structures rise from the sand like broken teeth, massive stone blocks carved with symbols that hurt to look at directly, geometric patterns that seem to shift when viewed peripherally, doorways that lead into darkness. This place feels old in a way that transcends time, as if it exists slightly outside the normal flow of reality. Varen feels his skin prickling with unease, but Zara dismounts with confidence, approaching the nearest entrance without hesitation. Stay close, she instructs, pulling a torch from her pack and lighting it with a gesture, flames springing from her fingertips to ignite the oil-soaked cloth. The mark on her shoulder glows bright, and Varen realizes she is channeling the Fire Caracal's power. Does it hurt? He asks, remembering her words from yesterday. Always, but this is minor, just a little flame. When I really cut loose, when I have to burn at full intensity, it feels like dying. But I heal, and I endure, because the alternative is letting people suffer. That is the bargain of being marked. Power at a price. They enter the ruins, moving through corridors carved from dark stone, their footsteps echoing strangely. The walls are covered in carvings, images of transformation, of human bodies shifting into animal forms, of flesh becoming metal, of spirit separating from matter. Zara studies the carvings with intense focus, occasionally stopping to trace a symbol with her fingers, murmuring to herself in languages Varen does not understand. They reach a central chamber, large and circular, with a domed ceiling high above. In the center of the room is a raised platform, and on that platform is a sarcophagus made of pure gold. The sight of it makes Varen's breath catch. Gold, the curse. Are they connected? Zara approaches the sarcophagus slowly, her torch held high. There are inscriptions here. Old script, predating modern languages. I can read some of it. She runs her fingers along the carved symbols, her lips moving silently. Then she speaks. This is a tomb, yes, but also a record. The person inside was a master of transformation magic, someone who learned to shift their body at will, to take on different forms. They called it the art of golden ascension. It was not a curse, Varen. It was a gift, a technique, a method of achieving immortality by transcending flesh. Varen moved closer despite his fear. Immortality? How? Zara continues reading, her voice growing more urgent. The gold transformation preserves the body perfectly, halts aging, prevents disease. But it requires preparation, training, mental discipline. The practitioner must be ready, must understand the process, must guide it consciously. If someone transforms without preparation, without knowledge, their mind is not ready to adapt to the new state. They become trapped, paralyzed, because they do not know how to move a body of metal. It is not the transformation that is the curse, it is the lack of understanding. The revelation is staggering. The golden curse is not a curse at all. It is an incomplete technique, a fragment of ancient knowledge being triggered accidentally in bloodlines that carry the genetic potential. People transform without knowing how to control it, and so they become living statues, not because the transformation is inherently imprisoning, but because they do not know how to function in their new form. This is it, Varen breathes. This is the answer. If we bring this knowledge back to Solhaven, if we teach people how to control the transformation, they do not have to suffer. We can, Zara agrees, but there is a problem. Teaching requires demonstration, requires someone who can guide others through the process from experience. We need someone willing to undergo the transformation voluntarily with knowledge and preparation, who can then teach others. We need a pioneer. Varen understands immediately what she is implying. You want me to do it, to trigger my own curse intentionally, here, now, and trust that this ancient knowledge will allow me to control it. Zara turns to face him fully, her amber eyes serious. I want you to choose. You can walk away, return to Solhaven, live your life in fear, as you have been doing. Or you can take a monumental risk, trust in this ancient wisdom, and potentially free yourself and everyone else who carries this bloodline. I cannot make that choice for you. No one can, but I will be here. I will guide you through what the inscriptions say, and I will not let you face this alone. Varen's heart pounds so hard he can hear it echoing in his ears. This is insane. Deliberately triggering the thing he has feared his entire life in ancient ruins, based on inscriptions that might be misinterpreted or incomplete. Every rational instinct screams at him to refuse, to walk away, to choose safety. But safety has not given him life. Safety has given him a slow death by inches, a gray existence of fear and isolation. And standing here in this ancient place, with this fierce woman who believes in possibilities rather than limitations, he feels something he has not felt in years. He feels brave. I will do it. Tell me what I need to know. Zara's expression is a mixture of respect and concern. Are you certain? Once we start this, there may be no going back. I am certain. I am tired of being afraid. I am tired of waiting to die. If there is a chance this works, a chance I can transform the curse into something else, I have to take it. For myself. For my father. For everyone who lives with this hanging over them. Teach me. Zara nods slowly, then gestures to the platform. Lie down beside the sarcophagus. We will begin with meditation, with preparing your mind to accept transformation rather than resist it. That is the key according to these texts. Acceptance, not resistance. The body wants to change, but the mind panics and locks everything down. We need to teach your mind to flow with the change instead of fighting it. Varen climbs onto the platform, the gold sarcophagus cold beside him. He lies down, staring up at the domed ceiling far above, and tries to calm his racing heart. Zara sits cross-legged beside him, placing one hand on his chest, over his heart. Her palm is hot, almost uncomfortably so, radiating the heat of her mark. Close your eyes, she instructs. Breathe slowly. In for 4 counts, hold for 4, out for 4. Focus on your breath. Nothing else exists except this moment, this breath, this heartbeat. Varen obeys, forcing himself to concentrate on the simple rhythm of breathing. Slowly his panic recedes, replaced by a strange calm. Zara's voice continues, low and steady. The transformation is not your enemy. It is a part of you waiting to emerge. It has always been there, in your blood, in your bones. You have spent your life rejecting it, pushing it down, terrifying yourself with visions of paralysis and suffering. But what if you welcomed it instead? What if you opened yourself to it and guided it with intention rather than letting it overwhelm you with fear? Imagine the gold not as a prison, but as a new form. Imagine yourself moving in that form, thinking in that form, being in that form. See yourself transformed, but still yourself. Still aware, still in control, still present. As she speaks, Varen feels something shift inside him. A warmth begins in his core, spreading outward through his limbs. He opens his eyes in alarm, but Zara presses down gently on his chest. Do not panic. This is it. This is the transformation beginning. Stay with me. Breathe. Remember what I said. Accept it. Guide it. Do not fight. Varen's skin begins to gleam, taking on a metallic sheen. His fingertips harden, turning from flesh to solid gold. The transformation is starting, and every instinct screams at him to resist, to fight, to stop it somehow. But he remembers his uncle's face, remembers the stories of all those who transformed in terror and became trapped. He does not want that fate. So instead of fighting, he breathes, he accepts. He opens himself to the change. The gold spreads up his arms, across his chest, down his legs. It does not hurt, not exactly, but it feels strange, foreign, as if his body is becoming something other than what it has always been. His breathing changes, becomes less necessary, his heart slows, his senses shift. He can feel the weight of his body increasing, the solidity of it, but also a strange fluidity, as if the gold is not rigid but somehow still alive, still responsive to his will. Zara's voice is his anchor. You are doing it. The transformation is progressing, but you are still here. You are still you. Now move your hand, just your fingers. Prove to yourself that you can. Varen focuses all his will on his right hand, on moving his fingers. At first, nothing happens. The gold feels impossibly heavy, impossibly solid. But then he remembers what Zara said. Accept, do not resist. He stops trying to force his flesh to move, and instead he asks the gold to move. He thinks of it not as a foreign substance, but as his new body, and he gently requests motion. His fingers twitch. Then they move, curling and uncurling with deliberate slowness. Relief floods through him so intense it brings tears to his eyes, though they are strange tears, slower and thicker than normal. He can move. The transformation has not paralyzed him. He is still in control. The gold continues to spread, covering his face, his head, his entire body. His vision shifts, colors becoming slightly different, his perception expanding in ways he cannot immediately describe. He can feel the vibrations of the earth beneath him, can sense the heat of Zara's body beside him, can perceive things that were invisible before. It is disorienting but not terrifying. Not anymore. Finally, the transformation completes. Varen lies on the platform, his body entirely golden, a living statue. But he is not trapped. He is not paralyzed. He is simply different. Slowly, carefully, he sits up. The movement is strange, requires concentration, but it is possible. He looks down at his hands, at the golden surface that is now his skin, and he feels awe rather than horror. Zara watches him with an expression of wonder and triumph. You did it. You actually did it. How do you feel? Varen's voice when he speaks is different, deeper, resonant, like struck metal. Strange, heavy, but not trapped. I can move. I can think, I can feel. Zara, this is incredible. This changes everything. She nods vigorously. This proves the inscriptions were right. The transformation is not a curse if approached with knowledge and preparation. You are the first in generations to successfully navigate it consciously. Now comes the next part. Can you transform back? Varen feels a moment of panic. Back? I did not think about going back. Zara stands, helping him to his feet. The inscriptions say the transformation is reversible for those who understand it. You became gold by accepting the change, by flowing with it. You return to flesh the same way. You do not force, you request. You ask your body to release the golden form and return to its natural state. Visualize yourself as you were. Remember what flesh felt like, what breathing deeply felt like, what warmth felt like, and ask the gold to recede. Varen closes his eyes, though the gesture is more mental than physical now. He remembers his body as it was, remembers the sensation of blood flowing through veins, of lungs expanding and contracting, of skin that could sweat and bruise and heal. He remembers being human, and he asks the gold to let him return. At first, nothing happens. Fear begins to creep in, the thought that maybe he is trapped after all, that this was a one-way transformation. But then he feels it, a warmth beginning in his core, spreading outward. The gold begins to recede, starting at his chest and flowing backward along his limbs, up his neck, across his face. It does not hurt, but it is intense, a sensation of shedding something heavy and reclaiming something light. Within minutes, the transformation reverses completely. Varen stands on the platform in his normal body, flesh and blood and bone, his skin its natural bronze color, his eyes their normal brown. He touches his face with trembling hands, feeling the familiar texture of skin, and he laughs. A sound of pure, unrestrained joy and relief. I did it. I transformed and came back. I am in control of it. Zara grins that fierce grin, and for the first time, Varen sees tears in her amber eyes. You did. You took the thing you feared most, and you mastered it. You broke a cycle of terror that has lasted generations. Do you understand what this means? Varen does understand. It means freedom, not just for him, but for everyone. It means the exile can end. It means people do not have to live in fear anymore. It means his father can sleep peacefully. It means future generations can be free of the shadow that has haunted his family for so long. They need to return to Solhaven immediately, need to share this knowledge, need to begin teaching others. But first, Varen does something he has not done in years. He pulls Zara into an embrace, holding her tightly, and he whispers thank you over and over until the words lose meaning and become simply emotion. She saved him. Not from the curse, but from the fear of it. She woke the curse inside him, yes, but she also woke his courage, his hope, his will to live. And that is the greater miracle. They spend several more hours in the ruins, Zara carefully documenting the inscriptions, making detailed notes and sketches that they can bring back to Solhaven. Varen practices the transformation several more times, each instance becoming easier, more natural. He learns he can partially transform, turning just his hands to gold or just his arms, and that the gold form grants him increased strength and durability. What was once a curse becomes a tool, a gift, a source of power rather than terror. By the time they leave the ruins and begin the journey back to Solhaven, Varen feels like a different person. Not just because he can control the transformation, but because he has reclaimed his life. He has stopped running from himself. The return journey is faster, both of them eager to share their discovery. They arrive at Solhaven's western gate as the sun is setting, 2 days after they left. Aina is waiting there, as if she somehow knew they would return at this moment. When she sees Varen, his face alive with purpose and energy in a way it has not been in years, she runs to him and throws her arms around him. "You look different," she says, pulling back to study his face. "What happened out there?" "Everything," Varen replies. "Everything changed." They go first to Varen's home, where Malik is pacing anxiously, worried about his son's uncharacteristic departure. When Varen enters with Zara, Malik's relief is palpable. "You are back?" "Thank the totems. I was beginning to fear the worst." Varen approaches his father and takes his hands. "Father, I need you to be brave for the next few minutes. I need you to trust me. I have discovered something extraordinary, something that will change our family's future." Before Malik can respond, Varen closes his eyes and triggers the transformation. The gold spreads across his body in a shimmering wave, and within moments he stands before his father as a living golden statue. Malik staggers backward, his face going pale, a sound of horror escaping his lips. But then Varen moves, raising his golden hand in a gesture of peace, and he speaks in that deep, resonant voice. "I am still here, Father. I am still myself. The transformation did not trap me. I am in control. Watch." And he reverses the transformation, the gold receding, his body returning to normal flesh. He stands before his father, human again, smiling. "It is not a curse. It never was. It is a gift we did not understand, and now we do." Malik stares at his son, unable to process what he has just witnessed. The impossible has happened. The curse has been controlled, mastered, transformed from doom into power. Slowly understanding dawns in his eyes, followed by a hope so profound it seems to physically pain him. "Show me," he whispers. "Teach me. If this is real, if this is truly possible, I need to learn it. I need to free myself from the fear. Over the following days, word spreads through Solhaven like wildfire. Varen demonstrates the transformation publicly, shows that he can shift between forms at will, that he retains awareness and control throughout. He shares the knowledge from the ancient runes, teaches the meditation techniques, the mental preparation, the philosophy of acceptance over resistance. Those who carry the bloodline come forward hesitantly at first, then in growing numbers, willing to try what once would have been unthinkable. Malik is among the first to attempt the transformation under Varen's guidance. With his son beside him, he lies in their home's central room and begins the breathing exercises, the meditation, the mental preparation. Zara assists, providing guidance drawn from the inscriptions, her presence a steadying force. When Malik feels the warmth begin, the first shimmer of gold, panic tries to overwhelm him. But Varen takes his father's hand and speaks with quiet authority. I am here. You are not alone. Accept the change. Flow with it. Remember, you are still yourself, no matter what form your body takes. And Malik does. He transforms his body, becoming living gold. And like his son before him, he does not become trapped. He sits up, moves his hands, speaks in that resonant metallic voice. Tears stream down his golden face, and when he returns to flesh moments later, he weeps openly, a lifetime of fear, breaking and washing away. Thank you, he says to his son. Thank you to Zara. You have given me my life back. You have given us all our lives back. The exile tradition ends. Those who were exiled in the past, those who transformed alone in the desert, cannot be saved. Their minds locked in golden prisons because they did not have the knowledge to navigate the change. But future generations will be free. Children born with the bloodline potential will be taught from youth, prepared for transformation, guided through it when the time comes. The golden curse becomes the golden gift, a source of pride rather than shame. Varen's reputation transforms as dramatically as his body. He is no longer the withdrawn merchant's son, living in fear. He becomes a teacher, a pioneer, a symbol of hope. He works with Zara to establish a school where those with transformation potential can train, where the ancient knowledge is preserved and expanded. They discover that other bloodlines carry different transformation potentials, silver and bronze and stranger metals, each with its own characteristics, each requiring its own approach. The school grows, attracting students from across the territories, becoming a center of learning and liberation. Zara stays in Solhaven longer than she originally planned, her work with the transformation magic becoming its own calling. She and Varen develop a deep bond, built on mutual respect and shared purpose. It is not romance, exactly, though there are sparks of that, too. It is something more fundamental. True partnership, the recognition that they are better together than apart, that their strengths complement each other perfectly. Months turn into years. The school flourishes. Varen's family thrives, no longer living under the shadow of doom. Bayuna eventually develops her own path, becoming a mediator and diplomat, using her freedom from the bloodline to bridge communities and solve conflicts. And Varen, he continues to transform, continues to explore the limits and possibilities of his golden form, continues to teach and guide others. On the 5th anniversary of his first transformation, Varen stands in the ruins of Karanashir, the ancient site where it all began, with Zara beside him. They have returned periodically over the years, always finding new inscriptions, new knowledge, new mysteries. Today they have brought a group of advanced students, those ready to attempt their first voluntary transformations in this sacred place. As Varen watches his students lie down on the ancient platforms, as he sees them face their fears with courage and preparation, he feels overwhelming gratitude. Gratitude for Zara's intervention, for her refusal to accept his paralysis, for her fierce determination to wake him from his living death. She literally woke the curse inside him, but in doing so she gave him everything. "You changed my life," he says to her as they watch the students begin their transformations, golden light spreading across young bodies as minds accept rather than resist. "You took the thing I feared most and showed me it was not what I thought. I cannot repay that." Zara's amber eyes glow in the dim light of the ruins. "You repay it every time you teach someone else. Every time you free another person from fear. Every time you choose courage over safety. That is the payment, Varen, not to me but forward, to the next generation and the one after that. You break the cycle by refusing to pass fear forward. That is all any of us can do." They stand together in comfortable silence as the transformations complete successfully, as students rise in golden forms, moving and speaking, and proving to themselves that the curse is conquered. And Varen thinks about how close he came to never experiencing this moment, how easily he could have remained in his prison of fear, slowly dying without ever truly living. But one woman refused to let him. One fierce, burning soul saw through his walls and dragged him back to life whether he wanted it or not. Everyone feared the golden curse, but Zara did not fear it. She questioned it, investigated it, understood it, and in understanding it, she broke its power. And she taught Varen to do the same, not just with the transformation, but with fear itself. To question it, to investigate it, to understand it, and in understanding, to rob it of its power over him. That is the real lesson, more valuable than any ancient inscription or magical technique. Fear is only as powerful as you allow it to be. Knowledge is the antidote. Courage is the key. And sometimes, just sometimes, you need someone to grab you by the shoulders and shake you awake, to refuse to let you disappear into yourself, to demand that you live even when you have forgotten how. Zara was that someone for Varen, and now he tries to be that someone for others, paying forward the gift she gave him. The students complete their transformations and return to flesh, all successful, all glowing with the euphoria of having faced their deepest fear and emerged victorious. They gather around Varen and Zara, asking questions, sharing their experiences, their faces alive with possibility. This is the future, Varen thinks. This is what liberation looks like. Not the absence of fear, but the ability to face it and continue forward anyway. Not the elimination of danger, but the preparation to handle it. Not running from what we are, but embracing it and shaping it according to our will. They leave the ruins as the sun sets, a procession of teachers and students, heading back toward Solhaven and the lives they are building there. Zara rides beside Varen, her mark glowing softly on her shoulder, the Fire Caracal's power always present, always burning. He has his own power now, the ability to transform, to take on golden form when needed, to be more than simple flesh. They are both marked, both chosen, both bearers of gifts that come with costs. But they bear them together, and that makes all the difference. As they ride through the cooling desert air, Varen speaks without looking at Zara, his voice quiet but certain. I was dead inside when you met me, a walking corpse maintained by routine and fear. You brought me back to life. Whatever comes next, whatever challenges or dangers or joys the future holds, I want to face them with you. You are my partner, my teacher, my truest friend. Thank you for not giving up on me when I had given up on myself. Zara is silent for a moment, then she reaches across the space between their horses and grips his hand briefly. You did the hard part, Varen. You chose to change. You chose to trust. You chose to live. I just showed you the door. You walked through it. Never forget that. The courage was yours. I just helped you remember you had it. They ride on as stars begin to emerge overhead, countless points of light in the infinite darkness, each one a sun blazing in its own distant space, each one burning with purpose and power. The universe is vast and full of wonders and terrors in equal measure. But tonight, riding through the desert with his companion beside him and his students behind him, Varen feels no fear, only anticipation for whatever comes next, only gratitude for the life he almost threw away, only determination to help others find the same freedom he has found. The golden curse is dead. Long live the golden gift, and long live those brave enough to question what everyone else fears, to seek understanding where others see only doom, to wake the sleeping power inside themselves and shape it according to their will rather than letting it shape them. This is the way forward. This is the path of the marked and the transformed. This is the legacy Varen and Zara are building together, one freed soul at a time. Years continue to pass. Varen becomes known throughout the territories, not just as a teacher, but as a philosopher, someone who speaks and writes about fear and courage, about questioning traditions, about the importance of knowledge over superstition. His writings spread far beyond Solhaven, influencing how people think about transformation magic, about inherited conditions, about the things they fear but do not understand. He becomes an advocate for those marginalized by fear, those exiled or ostracized for conditions they cannot control, arguing that understanding and accommodation are always preferable to rejection and abandonment. Zara continues her work as well, wandering less than before but still answering when the Fire Caracal calls her to action. She and Varen maintain their partnership, their bond deepening into something that transcends easy definition. They are companions, collaborators, family by choice rather than blood. Their lives interweave without consuming each other, each maintaining their own path while walking portions of the journey together. The school grows beyond their wildest dreams, eventually splitting into multiple branches across different cities, each teaching transformation techniques adapted to different bloodlines and conditions. The methodology they developed, the combination of ancient knowledge and modern understanding, becomes a template for approaching all forms of magical transformation, not just the golden one. On Varen's 40th birthday, 14 years after that first transformation in the ruins, Solhaven holds a festival in his honor. He is uncomfortable with the attention, preferring the quiet work of teaching to public celebration, but he endures it gracefully because he understands what the festival really celebrates. Not him personally, but the victory of knowledge over fear, of courage over paralysis, of community over exile. People who once would have been cast out now dance in the streets, their bodies shifting between flesh and metal forms with easy grace, their families celebrating with them rather than mourning them. It is a sight that would have been impossible when Varen was young, and seeing it now fills him with profound satisfaction. During the festival, an elderly woman approaches him, her silver hair and lined face marking her as someone who has lived through much. She takes his hand, her grip surprisingly strong, and she looks into his eyes with an intensity that commands attention. "I am Sela," she says. "My son was exiled 38 years ago, before you were born. He was 18 when the transformation took him. We left him in the desert as tradition demanded, and I have lived with that guilt every day since. I cannot undo what we did. I cannot bring him back. But I can thank you for ensuring no mother has to make that choice again. You have saved not just the cursed, but those who love them. Thank you." Varen embraces the old woman as she weeps against his shoulder, and he weeps with her, mourning those who could not be saved, those who transformed before the knowledge was recovered, those who suffered in golden prisons because no one thought to question, to investigate, to seek alternatives to fear. Their deaths were not meaningless, he tells Sela gently. They taught us what not to do. They showed us the cost of ignorance. We honor them by ensuring their fate never befalls another. That is all we can do. That is all anyone can do. Build a better future from the lessons of a painful past. The festival continues late into the night, music and laughter filling the streets of Solhaven. But Varen eventually slips away, seeking quiet and solitude. He finds Zara on the roof of the school they built together, sitting cross-legged and watching the stars, as she often does when she needs to think. He joins her without speaking, simply sitting beside her, their shoulders almost touching. Finally, Zara breaks the silence. "Do you ever regret it? That day you agreed to come to the ruins with me? If you had refused, you could have lived out your life in careful fear, never taking the risk, never facing the terror of intentional transformation. You could have died peacefully in your bed decades from now, never knowing if the curse would have manifested. Would that have been better?" Varen considers the question seriously, then shakes his head. "No, even if the transformation had gone wrong, even if I had become trapped like my uncle, it would have been better to try and fail than to never try at all. The slow death of fear was worse than any quick transformation could have been. You showed me that. You taught me that life requires risk, that safety is an illusion, that the only real security comes from knowledge and courage rather than avoidance and paralysis." Zara nods slowly. "I have watched you over these years, watched you become who you were always meant to be. You have saved hundreds, maybe thousands, not just from the transformation, but from the fear. That is your real gift, Varen. Not the ability to turn to gold, but the ability to turn fear into power, paralysis into purpose. You took your greatest weakness and made it your greatest strength. That is alchemy more profound than any physical transformation." Varen turns to look at her, this woman who changed everything, whose fierce determination and refusal to accept his surrender literally saved his life. "And what about you? You burn constantly, you said. The mark hurts every time you use it. Do you ever regret being chosen?" Zara's laugh is soft but genuine. "Every day. And never. The Fire Caracal's mark is a burden, yes. It demands constant vigilance, constant sacrifice, constant pain. But it also gives me purpose, direction, the ability to make a real difference in the world. Without it, I would be just another wanderer, drifting from place to place without meaning. With it, I am a force. I am needed. I matter. The pain is the price, and I pay it willingly, because the alternative is insignificance. And I cannot abide being insignificant. They sit together as the stars wheel overhead, two marked individuals who found each other at precisely the right moment, who saved each other in different ways, who built something lasting from the ashes of fear and the foundation of courage. The future stretches before them, unknown and full of possibility, and they face it together without fear. Not because they are fearless, but because they have learned that fear is just another challenge to overcome, another problem to solve through knowledge and determination and mutual support. They are not alone. They will never be alone again. And that makes them invincible in the ways that matter most. As the night deepens and the festival below gradually quiets, Varen and Zara remain on the roof, guardians and teachers and partners. Watching over the city, they have transformed from a place of fear and exile into a place of knowledge and liberation. The golden curse is dead. The golden gift lives on. And the woman who woke it inside him sits beside him still, her mark burning gently on her shoulder, her spirit as fierce and bright as the day they met. This is their legacy. This is their triumph. This is their story. And it is far from over. The desert holds many more secrets. The ruins hide many more truths. The totems have many more lessons to teach. But whatever comes next, Varen and Zara will face it together, with courage born from surviving the unsurvivable, with wisdom earned through questioning the unquestionable, with power drawn from embracing the very things others flee from. They are the ones who looked at fear and said no, who looked at tradition and said why, who looked at doom and said not today. And in that refusal, in that questioning, in that defiance, they found freedom, not just for themselves, but for everyone who comes after. That is the real magic. That is the true transformation. That is the story of how one woman woke a curse in a man who feared it more than death, and how together they turned it into a gift that changed the world. If this story moved you, if you felt the terror of living in fear transformed into the triumph of mastering it, if you recognized in Varen's journey any reflection of your own struggles with the things you fear, then share your thoughts below. What fears have you mastered? What traditions have you questioned? What curses have you transformed into gifts? Your stories inspire others. Your courage multiplies. Your voice matters in this community we are building together. And if you have not yet subscribed to Solaris Legends, join us now. Become part of this growing family of adventurers and dreamers who believe that no fate is truly fixed, that knowledge conquers ignorance, that courage defeats fear. Hit that subscribe button and activate notifications so you never miss the next tale from our sun-scorched desert realm where heroes are made, not born, where curses become blessings, and where every ending is simply another beginning waiting to unfold. Thank you for spending this time with us, for allowing us to share Varen and Zara's story with you, for being part of the magic that transforms words into worlds and fear into power. Until the next adventure, may you face your fears with knowledge. May you question the things everyone else accepts. May you find the courage to wake the sleeping power inside yourself and shape it according to your will. This is Solaris Legends, where transformation is always possible, where curses can become gifts, where one brave choice can change everything. We will see you in the next story. Stay curious, stay courageous, stay ready to be transformed.